Okay, let's start the project meeting. First, let's introduce ourselves. This is Hene. If you don't know him, he's a board member since nearly 2 years, I think. 6. Well, you had a break at some point. No? Yeah, whatever. And I am Vincent. I'm the newly appointed chairman to the board. And so this is a project meeting. We don't have any slides or whatever. We want this to be an interactive discussion. So we have a few questions for you, and you will hopefully have questions for us. And I guess it's a good time to just see what we should do in the future for the project. So how do we start? Does anybody want to first ask a question, specific question, or otherwise, I guess we can find tons of questions for you. So, Dominic, you look so... No, you don't have a question? No? Oh, Robert. You're the one moving, okay.
So I think
Say your name.
I think at the openSUSE conference, all the board members should be present. I know they all have jobs and whatever else, but I think I should make it a point that they all should be here.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I know that one board member had an issue because his wife had some issues, so he had to stay at home. And the board member is actually traveling for work right now. But yeah, in general, I agree. We should have board members at the event. And actually, it would be good for us because it would also be a good time for meeting, face to face. So, yeah. But that was not a question. Okay, no question for... So I have a question for people here. So in the first 2 days for this event, we were co-located with the Linux Days in a Gen2 mini conference. How do people feel about it? Was it useful, or do you feel that it was maybe a loss of identity in some way? What's your feeling about this, co-locating the conference with other events?
Don't see my job.
Yeah, but don't sit down.
It was highly useful.
Sorry?
It was highly useful, just to get some ideas, some more insight into how others are doing. For example, I attended the talk about the NIX package management and the distribution they built around it. That was very, very interesting.
Okay, cool. So 1+. I like it when Hene is running. I did that once and it was bad.
So I find that being together in a conference with Gen2 was really nice because we could come closer as communities and cooperate more. But Linux Days and stuff like that, it's too general for me. I mean, if we are going to cooperate and do other stuff with other communities, we should, but doing that along with other more general Linux stuff, I don't think it's a good idea. It was great, okay, as an experience it was great, but my opinion is that if we do something like that, let's do it with other distributions so that we can interact and work on things together. That's why I'm doing summer camp, and we bring many communities. The communities work together, it's great, but...
Okay, cool. Just interrupt him. Is anybody taking some notes? Because that would be useful. Do we have any volunteer to take some notes now? Come on. I'm going to pick somebody who has his laptop open. Baffled. Thank you very much. Can you take the notes about what was said before? If you remember. Okay. Any other opinion about co-locating events? Okay. I'm not sure you count, but yeah.
Well, I think...
It's turned on. We can hear you.
Okay, so I think there are good parts and there are bad parts. It's dead. No, it's not. Okay. So I think there are good parts and there are bad parts about that, and I think we need to eliminate the bad parts. And I agree with Kostas directly that the too general stuff is not very useful for us. So yes, it's nice to hear about NixOS, but no, I don't think we should hear about, you know, Ubuntu, blah, or the other more general parts. I also think that this future media track had brought some nice sprinkles into the conference, that you see stuff that is beyond you, but for instance, having talk or having 3 talks about nearly totally unrelated projects is like too much. It's okay if you have one speaker that speaks about disaster relief, and that brings a nice sprinkle, but that's enough.
Yes and no. I think co-locating the event gives us an opportunity to present ourselves as a community and as a project to people that may not look at openSUSE. And so having a broader audience, like for Linux Days or whatever else, they come by the SUSE booth, I think that is useful. So from interest in going to their tracks and looking at the talks, I agree with Henna and Kostas, that may not be so interesting, but I think it gives us as a project, it gives us a great opportunity to do some marketing and present ourselves.
Yeah,
so.
But I think there are like in every country there are like 16 different conferences where we can do that. We don't have to create another one ourselves. So it's we don't have to do that ourselves. We can go to other conferences and have booths there.
And also we do that by being present in many conferences. We were in FOSDEM. What I mean is that we didn't need, it might sound ugly, I don't exactly mean that way, but we didn't need Linux Days in order so the guys can learn about openSUSE. I mean, openSUSE community in Prague is active, it goes to events, so they could have, we could have Linux Days another day and we could go there, build a booth and give a show to people who we are. Mixing that with the conference is
true, but on the other hand, I don't think it hurt us.
No.
So
it definitely didn't hurt us.
If we had a 4-day just openSUSE conference, would we really fill up 4 days? Probably not, right? I mean, do we get more people? Are there more people here now than there were last year? I don't know. I don't know the numbers. But so, in the end, yes, we don't have to put on yet another conference to present ourselves. We have other opportunities. But in a way, this was also opportunistic that we had the openSUSE conference in Prague anyway, and then other people jumped on the train, and I think it's okay. I'm not, I think if it doesn't happen, it's okay, and if it happens, we can say yes and we can do it.
The bad thing to this stuff is that when someone comes, most of the people are IT technicians who come to the conference, right? So if you have someone who is a sysadmin, for example, and he wants to go to an openSUSE conference, he will go to an ambassador, as an example I'm setting it, to an ambassador talk in order to learn what ambassador is, because he's a part of the openSUSE project, blah, 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 blah. If at the same time there is a talk about sysadmins in another room, he will prefer to go there. So why do we do the conference? We do the conference so that people who already are part of the openSUSE project learn more aspects of the project. By co-hosting that with other things that people who come to the conference find equally interesting, we take from our conference and give to them. Of course, we have people from Linux Days that came to our talks, but this is irrelevant to me, if you know what I'm saying.
And I think what you said is that it doesn't hurt, it hurts. It requires people to organize it. And it requires people to, to work with the guys from Linux Days, that everything is coming together and stuff like that. So it hurts in a way.
But it equally hurts, like today and tomorrow, where we have several tracks here, where I would like to be at Labs presentation as well as an openSUSE presentation. So Sorry?
As communities. But there we would make a schedule, we would think for the schedule for a while, and we would put a schedule where all the talks about the marketing businesses like Ambassador or like I don't know what else, in a season like we had a Fedora Ambassador season, an openSUSE Ambassador season, or something like that. And there's someone who was looking for it, would go see all three of them or all two of them and decide and interact and find a land to step in and do something.
So
to
what
evolve.
was missing over the weekend was kind of BOF or discussion panel where we had Gentoo people, Ubuntu people, Fedora people, and SUSE people, how to attract new Linux users. Yes, that would be nice.
Yeah,
and having too many tracks in parallel hurts. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Theo. I'm one of the guys that had the original idea of the co-hosting conferences and one of the guys that was behind all this conference. And I have to say that although it was great and it was nice to see so many different people in the same place all the time and sharing their experiences and stuff like that, the major problems were not during the event. The major problems were during organizing the event. We had to do communication with different groups of people, and I had to be the middleman in many cases between the Czech side, the openSUSE side, the SUSE side, and the Gentoo side. And I had many times to share the same information to all of those sources, which meant that some kind of information was lost, wrong people were taking decisions. So if openSUSE and SUSE decides to do another joint conference, yeah, it would be great. It would be nice to have again to share experience, to share our technologies or whatever. But you should consider very much the thing of the communication mostly, and the thing of organizing the event. For sure, during the event, everything will be good, everything will be nice, and people will be happy. But it was about 8 or 10 months of running and getting depressed with things that we shouldn't do. So there were many problems that emerged, and many last-minute problems that we couldn't deal with. So it means that we have to be very careful with who is going to be the next event and how the communication is going to be between the various sources if we're going again for a joint conference.
So I think, those who did all the work and all the communication, you guys should document this, right? So lessons learned should be documented on the wiki or somewhere else. I mean, next year, the Greek team is organizing the conference, and so, everything we learned. And so if somebody in Greece comes along and says, hey, we want to jump on the openSUSE conference train, they can look at your document and then they can say, no, we don't want this because, right? So I think we should just write all of this down, what we've learned. I think in the end it was a good event. I don't think anybody walks away and says, oh, we should not have done that. I think, we learned something from it. Let's, use that knowledge for future. And I don't think we originally planned to have the openSUSE conference co-located with somebody else. It just happened.
I can share the history in short if you are interested. The history is that I wanted to do a Gentoo event here in Prague. There was the idea of the Czech event again here in Prague, and also there was it was for sure that the next openSUSE conference will be here. And since Mikkel had communication with all of those different people, it turned out we kind of shared the same room at some point. We went to the same meeting, and when we started discussing, we said somehow at this time, actually, yeah, why not do a joint conference? It might work. The thing with documenting stuff is something that we did during organizing the conference, actually, because many things were abstract, and we couldn't find any decent information from the previous organizing committees of the openSUSE conference, mostly, which means that one of the reasons that we had problems is because that we lost some time documenting stuff and writing stuff down. And the thing is that while we were organizing the conference, we were using Trello and some other tools that keep history of what we did. So we have a full history of all of our actions, actually, and we just need to clear those up. But we need people for that. Really, we were alone this time, and if we don't have people next year, there will be even more problems. So please step up for next time.
Because I give you 30 seconds, and then we move to another topic because time is flying.
The good thing if we organize next year is that we were too close to that procedure, so we learned enough from him shouting and Skype and stuff like that, so we know most of the procedure.
And in case you didn't notice, a lot of Greek people came for this event and they were involved during the organization. They saw a lot of the organization, so I think that's a good way to pass knowledge. Okay, let's move to another topic, I guess. First, is there any question on your side? Still no question? Are you still sleeping after the lunch? Okay, Hene, do you have a question? No, I have many questions, so that's fine. Let's talk about, why not, Summer of Code and Google Coding, for instance. So did you manage to do a buff in the end? Not really. Do you want to talk a bit about that, or? Okay. So does anybody not know that we have participated to Summer of Code this year and last year and the years before? No? That's good. Does anybody have opinion on how our participation, how it went? Talk.
Well, I guess in general it always goes fine. What I see is that the quality of our proposed projects is dropping every year, I think. So that is something that we need to address for the next Google Summer of Code. Because if you don't have the newest, coolest projects, you don't get the best students.
Anybody else?
Something that we're doing is working, right? I mean, we have one student here who did the FDisk project. He gave a presentation yesterday on the openSUSE track, and he's here today. So I think, I mean, part of the Google Summer of Code and Google Code-In is to attract new contributors to the openSUSE project. And so at least that's what I think. And I think something that we're doing is working. We're certainly probably not doing it perfectly, but I think something's working, and I think that's great. And so all the effort that people put in to put it together and the projects and whatever, I think, that is appreciated. And we should, really, maybe we need to point that out more, when the thing's over, again, a retrospective or something and saying, these are all the successes we had for Google Summer of Code, which I'm not sure we have, or have it publicly so that everybody really gets it, right?
The thing is that publicly you don't want to state the quality of the project or whatever. It's more a thing for us to look at what we proposed and what worked well and what didn't work, and then propose more of the stuff that worked next year. So so it's more like a retrospective.
So we should have a blog post on newsopenSUSE.org about the successes. So we don't talk about the failed projects. It's always difficult to talk about that, but we talk about the successful ones and the limits we hit for those projects too. We talk about that, but yeah.
But
again, goes back to the FDisk example, right? That apparently worked really well. So let's go and look at why did it work really well and learn from that for next year, right? You're saying you think that the quality of our proposals are dropping, or that the work is not the same quality as it used to be. So here we have what I think is a really good example. So let's look at that as a community and say, how can we use that and duplicate it next year and have better quality, right?
But that actually, again, requires people to do that. And we, as usual, you find mentors 1 week before the deadline from Google is, but you don't find anybody who really seriously thinks about GSOC and the stuff we did in the past year. Me included. I lay awake at night and think about it, but it's not like I made a deep analysis or something.
So I was an admin for GSOC this year, and one feedback I have is actually about the admins themselves. We didn't do a very good job, I feel. I think it's important for the admins to know the status of all the projects, and there was not enough communication between the students and the admins and the mentors and the admins for that. And we actually had an issue for one evaluation at the last minute where we didn't know what to do, and the mentor was not available, and we had to guess in some way. It turned out that we found enough information, but this is bad. So I think there's work to do there, and that's something we should not repeat next year. Do you want to say a few words about GCI, Robert, since you're working a bit? Like recruiting people to help?
There's not really all that much to say as of yet, because we're still in the preparation phase. But if you have projects that are suitable for high school students, please go to the wiki and enter your project, sign up as a mentor. The format of GCI, the Google Code-in, is different this year. So Google does not hand out money to the students this year, okay? And I think part of the reason is that they got complaints that high school students just show up and they see a few dollar signs, and then they do shoddy work, and then they take the money and run away, which is not necessarily the same for students in colleges that participate in Summer of Code. So what Google is doing this year is they're inviting 20 people altogether to the campus in California. So the high school students get a trip to California, including a guardian. And so that's what the high school students are basically gunning for. The students get nominated by the project, so if we get chosen as one of the 10 projects that the Google Code-in is limited for, we get to choose 2 of our students to go and nominate them to go to Google Plex. And with that format change, Google hopes, and so do we, that the quality actually improves. And basically there's we as a project can get to decide of the students that we get, who do we nominate. So if you have any projects that you think can be done by a high school student, it can be documentation, code, whatever, please put them on the wiki, sign up as a mentor, and hopefully we'll get selected by Google. This year, the selection criteria is different, so it's not a shoo-in. And again, it depends on the quality of the tasks that we put up, that Google will either say yay or nay. So that's basically where we are. The deadline for the decision is mid-November, if I remember that correctly. So.
I admit that with the conference coming, I didn't have much time to read the news, but this year GCI is same format as per tasks are, or do we need to think about different projects? I remember that I really liked the last year experience when there was just some quick tasks that took a day or 2 or 3 for the students, and then they moved to different job and they tried many different things. And for mentor, I met 3-4 students, and it was always just a few days work, so it was not that tiring as mentoring GSOC.
Yeah, so the tasks are not really all that different. One thing that changed this year is that translation tasks are no longer allowed. But everything else is pretty much the same as it was last year. So the task can be short, but you need to have some criteria that says, yes, this is good or not, and then you have to be able to tell the student, how they can go back and improve it. If their initial submission doesn't meet whatever your criteria is as a mentor, right? But other than that, yes, the format is very similar to last time. So.
Any other comment or question about this topic? No?
Will it be right if we add some tasks during the conference itself? It'll be great if we can add some tasks during the conference itself. Have a small session, maybe half an hour or so, and just add tasks. It'll be great.
Oh, he said maybe it would be cool if we had a session at this conference to collect some tasks. So we probably should use the unconference this afternoon.
I actually tried. The issue that the schedule was not visible enough, so yeah. Okay, time to move to another topic then. On your hand, any topic you would like to discuss? Any question? Oh, come on. Ah, yes, that's good.
Hi, I would like to know everyone's opinion about the summit. I mean, at least the people that were there.
The openSUSE Summit?
Yeah.
Isabel, what did you say? Why? Why do you want to hear opinions? That's the question.
Because, I mean, I feel that this, the summit was underrepresented comparatively to, the staff of openSUSE didn't attend the summit, and it would have been good.
Yeah. So does anyone want to say anything about the summit? Otherwise I can speak a bit about it.
I can say something about the staff part. Or is Augustine here? Augustine? No, good. So yeah, well, for them it was like this new team had some, had to do some finding of what to do first, and then there's only so much they can do. So, and they immediately landed the job of organizing these conferences, and being so close together, it was just not possible for them to come there. But I'm sure they will come there next year.
So, what I wanted to say about the summit is that it was the first time we organized it. It was not expected to be a big event. The goal was mostly to reach out to American people and hopefully South American people too. It turned out that we actually had more people than expected. A lot of local people came, people from Lugs and so on. And we also had quite some people who attended SUSECon and decided to stay for a few days for the summit. I believe that, so it was, in my opinion, quite successful for our first summit, but I think we need to have more community people going there. And that's something that we can help with. We have a travel support program. So if people want to go to the summit, they can ask for sponsorship for that.
One thing that just swings to my mind, but it's very apparent that this year at these conferences there are less Americans and less South Americans.
Costas.
Except, of course.
So, do you think that summit helped us? Because I'm a European, okay. At least I'm trying to be. So, okay. So, do you think that My feeling, my personal feeling, is that summit undermined openSUSE conference 2012, and that's my feeling. We said that with Isabel before the summit started organizing, when it was just an idea, but it proves that we were right in the beginning, that summit actually undermined openSUSE conference. And I mean, either we have two events, either we have one openSUSE conference and something not local, but not global either. Do you know what I mean? I'd like to hear people.
I think there were good parts and bad parts about it. The good part certainly was that it was close to the SUSECon. So to the kind of business people who attended SUSECon, the community was more visible, and some of the business people even stayed over the weekend. That was certainly good. What I heard from a lot of people, and also felt myself, that the naming of summit and conference was pretty bad, because it was not clear. And I even heard from someone who submitted a talk, but he wanted to give this talk in Prague, but it was accepted for the summit and so on. So maybe something like Conference Europe and Conference America would be better.
We divide community into parts. I mean, the idea I get about the conference, when previous year was my first year to the conference, but the idea I had these people from all over the world, not from Europe, not from Japan, not from United States or America, people from all over the world are coming to one place to interact. Because we have FOSDEM for Europe, we don't need openSUSE Conference 13. We go to FOSDEM and we say, you know what, one day, we'll stay one day longer and meet and interact. It's ugly for me.
Sorry, I don't know how the summit went. I was not there, and I was too busy organizing this conference to know what the result was. But as organizing committee of this conference, I can say that due to the summit, we had many problems from the company side, especially from the promotion and some other important stuff that we wanted, and we had many delays. So I believe that many of the problems that we had was because the summit and this conference were very close to the dates.
Let me... No, summit. Let me just say that we're supposed to make summit to attend America and Latin America, but we can't do that because it's pretty hard to get visa. So if you are calling summit pretending to be an American conference, won't be true, because won't be American conference, meaning American, the whole America, you know. So we try to sponsor a few people to go there to attend summits, to give talks and everything. They tried, and they didn't get visa to get there. So specifically, if you think about United States and Canada, can be good. Otherwise, it's pretty complicated. And also, a lot of people that attend there, even SUSE employees, because they attended there, of course, SUSECon, they are not here. So I believe if you didn't have the both so close, they could be here. Otherwise, they wouldn't attend nothing for openSUSE this year. So I think it's pretty complicated. I think you must think about how we can keep both sides happening.
Also, it's very close to what Isabel said. More board members were there, which was not a global openSUSE meeting, and less are here. And for me, you know something, I'm going to be a bit hard, but somebody ran for the board in order to work for the community. If somebody cannot work for the community, quit. Right? This is an obligation. I understand that Funky Penguin had a problem, but he tended to come. It's an honest, we're people. But all the others, and I vote for all the others. Okay? For me, as a community member, it's unacceptable.
I actually think that we should, in the next year, we should push more to get more space at SUSECon. Not our own event afterwards, but to get more space at SUSECon. So then we don't have to do a separate event that we have to take care of ourselves. We can just push for a track at SUSECon. That's probably the thing we should do.
So two things. First, there were not more board members to meet, same number, which was bad anyway. And what you're saying and what Isabel and others were saying are a bit two different things. Some people are saying that it's bad that they are too close. What you're saying, I think, is different, right? What you're saying is more like the summit, whenever it happens, is not helping the conference. It's hurting the conference. Okay? Just to make it clear.
I think I think part of our problem is the timing of having only 4 weeks in between the events. And that's probably something we need to look at seriously. Whether SUSECon can move earlier to the year, or whether maybe we need to move the openSUSE conference to a different part of the year. I mean, in the end, it is going to be difficult because, starting April or May, there is a big conference almost every month, and you will always be competing for people. So I think we need to look at the schedule. We need to look at where SUSECon is going to be, and maybe we want to decide that no, we don't care, but then we can't cry about not everybody being here. And if we do care, maybe we need to be, more flexible with the dates. I know it was very difficult to find the dates to be in Prague to begin with. And next year may be even more difficult because I know LinuxCon North America is moving into September from August. And so that's squeezing everything else as well. So, we need to look at the dates and we need to make some decisions about that, I think.
Yeah, I also want to let you know that I'm also into KD, and the KD community is doing an established event every year called Academy, which is in some city in Northern Europe usually. And for 1 year they tried also an American conference with a different name. And there was, at this time, there was all that confusion that you are talking about today, and exactly all those problems that you are facing today. And they also did it for the next year, since it went good the first year, despite all the confusion and the problems. But then they stopped it because they found out that it divides the community. It's doing more harm than good. So if you want some feedback, you can ask them. They did it about 3 or 4 years ago, and they stopped it.
There's only so much time left.
I'm not against summit. I really like the idea. I just didn't like the dates. I'm against the dates. That was originally my point. I didn't express it right. Having summit 2 months before openSUSE conference, even if someone wants to go to both, someone from the States, it's impossible due to work because people work, right? So just to be clear, I'm not against summit. I have nothing with summit. I'm an ambassador guy. I love going to events, right? So it's just what you said, the dates. We have to split the year or something because it's a big event and we should take advantage of the opportunity to take resources that SUSE can give us. The more resources we take, the better if we work on this properly.
Okay, let's move to another topic because Hene will kill me otherwise. That was good discussion, I think. It's important for us. It will help us plan for next year, I guess. 5 minutes? Oh. Okay, any question on your side? Any topic on your side? Any question, topic? No, nothing. Hene? Still nothing? Okay. I'd like to hear about people who are organizing local events. So I know that there is a summer camp in Greece that's happening. So who is organizing local events in their country or area? So Greece?
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's my first time in a conference, totally English. I am from Guatemala. It's my intention, know all team behind the code to spread the better way openSUSE in my country. I used openSUSE 12 years ago, version 7. This time to now, I spread openSUSE. I don't know, it's a big project. I use very nice tool to break or to communication with other people. For me, is a tool to bring technology in my country to progress. For me, it's only a tool, very nice tool, but only a tool to way that this way I have more idea how work that I have more ideas for that. This is cool for me. Is now I tell the other people how work, how is join the code, the community users. Is for me is cool. Thanks.
Thank you. Also about Guatemala, we are asking them to talk because to show the Latin American experience. So, Axel
Speak
organized
into the microphone.
It's a festival. Oh, sorry. It's a festival. We call Install Fest. So happening in many places, you know that. So he organized one. And also Sebastian has experience about Guatemala community. And it's pretty interesting because they make meetings every week to keep the community involved. So, please.
Hi, it's the second time I've been to this conference, so I guess many of you already seen me, at least. And well, the experience in Guatemala has been interesting because we're a small community and we share many things with other distributions. I mean, we see ourselves as part of the openSUSE community within the free software community in Central America and in Guatemala. And we have some events, we have weekly meetings, which are generally not, they're about free software, but we meet to talk, right? And we have launch parties for openSUSE. We have collaborated with launch parties for other distributions such as Debian 6, we helped. And they've helped us. We collaborate a lot on that kind of things. And we're now organizing the, well, not me actually, Axel has been the one of the main organizers of the Central American Free Software meeting, which is the largest event in Central America. And it has been done in Costa Rica, in El Salvador, Nicaragua, and now it's Guatemala's turn. And we've been having several I wouldn't say issues, but
just say issues.
Yeah, you could say issues. Challenges, that's the word. Challenges because we are still trying to find a common vision for all of Central Americas to join in free software. I think in Latin America in general, we have too few communication. We should have more communication. And I think that was the point of the summit, that we met all Latin American openSUSE people, which was not the case. And I mean, I feel that, I feel not disappointed, but I would have wanted it to be that way. And yeah, I would like to meet more people related to openSUSE in Mexico, in the rest of Central America. I mean, we have worked with the Salvadorian community in some issues, but only online. And actually, Axel has met the ambassador from Honduras, and she has asked us for help, for example, for shipping CDs, because they've had some issues bringing the CDs and etc. So what we have done is we try to ship them the CDs, but we don't have enough. So we have to decide if we want to ship them our discs, or we end up without discs. And most of the time it's just easier to make it your own and then see what you can do, how you can find the resources to do it. And I know now of the procedures to ask for reimbursement, etc. But because that information is not in Spanish, several other ambassadors, for example, the ambassador from El Salvador or the ambassador from Honduras, haven't been able to ask for reimbursement. So the feeling is like, oh well, I don't know which resources are available for me as a person that works for openSUSE, for the community. Which are the resources available to me, because those resources are not available in Spanish. I think it might be the case in other countries, and yeah, it's an effort we must do as a community, and it's partially our fault because we have people in our team that know English and Spanish, but it's of course a larger effort. I'm not gonna point fingers at anyone, but yeah.
Very quickly, yes.
So what specifically can we do? Because you mentioned this translation example, which is, you know, a very good example. But for example, the wiki allows for translation. I mean, should we do like ask people to translate the ambassador travel wiki page? Yeah.
I give you 15 seconds.
I think it would be good to let people know that there's to have a central organization in each language, so people from the same language can know each other. An officially sponsored openSUSE tool, or use the resources of openSUSE to make us connect better among the same language and same region communities.
Okay, we have to stop here. I'm sorry, we're reaching the end of our time. That's a discussion that we should actually continue. I think you two should talk together at least. Very quickly, there are a few talks this afternoon that might be of interest to you. Isabel is going to talk about the travel support program, like just now. I think it's in this room, or this one. And afterwards, Kostas is going to talk about the ambassador program and how it's going to be revamped. So that's going to be also quite important. Okay, so that's it. Hene, you want to talk?
And also please note the BOF sessions and the unconference. So there's still a lot of open slots in the BOF session rooms, and you're also supposed to hook up ad hoc at the conference here. The 2 rooms at the back are reserved for that. So please make use of that. So,
last word. Don't be shy. If you have any question for the board or for anybody, just ask people. If you have any question for the board, ask Hene or myself. You can also send emails. We don't bite, I think.
I bite.
E-bites, okay. And so yeah, that's it. Thank you for joining.